Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my new video where we are going to be talking about Lissandra. Now, I'm really excited for this video because I think she's an extremely meta champion that is relatively easier to execute than some of the other meta champions right now in this game. So, if you are a mid lane player and you do not have Lissandra currently in your champion pool, I would heavily recommend that you pick her up. She is a decently safe blind pick. She has very great team fighting potential, great pick potential, great ganks. So there is nothing to hate about Lissandra. There's just everything to love. I've had so much fun playing her. So heavily recommend picking her up. So these tips are going to be a little bit different. They're not just going to be the cookie cutter ones that you always hear about with Lissandra. So make sure to stick around till the end. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is Ulti. I do educational content, do tip videos, do guide videos, do opposition reports, and I also stream every night on YouTube at around 6:30 PST. If you're interested in that, I put together just 5v5 customs where we kind of hang out and play against my viewers, and everyone tries to be the best one in the game. It's a fun old time, so make sure to check that out if that interests you at all. So without further ado, let's jump into Lissandra. Now, the first tip that I think can really help people out that are first picking up the champion is Lissandra is equivalent to a jungler similar to Rek'Sai and Kayn that can have some unique ganking paths where you're able to jump over the wall with your E, and then you're providing so much CC with the kit of the W root and the R stun and the slows. I mean, it's just she is one of the best premier gankers, I would say, and roamers. So always look to make sure to take advantage of her roaming potential. She has decent dueling potential. You usually are playing her mid lane, so she's going to be at a high level. She should be able to outduel the junglers and really make a huge impact in particularly the bot lane. If you can get that double root off, it can be extremely deadly. And then if you have your ult up, it's just there's no way they're getting out of that without summoner spells if you get a proper flank on them. Yeah, so that will wrap up tip number one. As always, guys, I'm open to feedback and critique, and I love the recent trend of people like giving their own tips in the comments down below. I love that. Just kind of building like a weird amalgamation of tips on these 5 tips videos. So make sure to check out the comments. There's usually a few people that are really knowledgeable about the champion as well that are able to help you out and give some different tips. Just because I'm a little bit limited in this format of only giving out 5 tips, because I don't want to bore you guys to death with doing an hour video over every single champion. So let's get into tip number 2. You know, actually, guys, we are going to just go over the pathing real quick because I think it's so important to just see it. I should have just added this on the first one. My apologies. So one of the best ganking paths, I think, when you are on this side would be right here, where you can just kind of sneak behind and grab an E spot over the wall and then gank the enemy right here. And this is going to just be able to really catch them off guard because they are not used to getting ganked from behind on this side. And then obviously with this side, you can come from here or here and just kind of do the regular path of going through this try and eating in there. So with the top lane, it's pretty similar. I'd say getting behind the enemy if you're on the red side right here. If you're coming to gank the enemy that's over here, you can just E over the wall. It's just kind of very simple paths that are really effective, and that's why Rek'Sai and Kayn are decent gankers, is because they're able to get in great positions. And then again, just with this try, you just get behind them like that or something, or E'ing over the wall like right around here. So yeah, a little bit of an extended tip, but whatever. So for tip number 2, I want to talk about how you should be playing out these team fights. Let's spawn in some of these. So the biggest thing I want you guys to look at it as her new passive. It is so important. This is obviously a level 18 passive, so the damage numbers are pretty insane. But they do 520 with 149 bonus magic. So this scaling isn't terrible. It's not the best. But with the Sandra's kit, sometimes people try and get a huge amount of AoE off. They try and like hit everyone. Well, let's say a classic engage would be like E, W, R, and just trying to hit everyone with everything. But with this Iceborne subjugation, you're actually able to snowball team fights really hard once you get a single kill, because these thralls do so much damage. They're able to slow people down, which is going to be really big. So what you want to do, obviously it's good if you can hit a couple people with your spells, but try and focus one guy out in particular and get those thralls going as soon as possible, because people really don't understand how effective they are in low elo, where they're going to be just really, they might even just be running straight at them at some point. So really try and focus that first person out and get the Lissandra chain going of throwing out those thralls at the enemy team. That'll wrap up number 2. Yeah. Alright, let's jump into tip number 3. Now, a really unique part of Lissandra is actually her keystone that she's able to take. There are 2 Aftershock keystone users that are really high up in the meta right now, and those are Galio and Lissandra, and they both are really, like, I think when I was watching the Kespa Cup and some pro Korean games, it was almost 100% pick ban with those 2 champions. So what you want to do when you are playing Lissandra is Aftershock is definitely the most important part of your pregame, just setting up your kit. What it allows is you to really become quite tanky, and you proc it so easily with your W that you're able to negate a bunch of damage and even stick around and use the damage portion of the Aftershock if you are in a safe position. Now, how we do this is when you know damage is coming. When you see, a great example would be a Fizz Shark is about to jump on you and the Fizz is jumping in on you. What you want to do is try and get the Aftershock as soon as possible, because it provides you a huge magic resist and armor buff, 120 at level 18, and I think it's not too, I think it's like in the 80s or something at level 1, so it is gonna make a huge difference when you are taking damage from the burst. So always make sure to save the Aftershock proc for the burst. The easiest way to do it is just when a melee champion is jumping in on you, say example a jungle Kha'Zix is jumping in on you, just do a W, it procs the Aftershock. You can even stick around if you want to do a little bit more damage, but just make sure to use this proc effectively. You do not want to be misusing it by just just like a random like W for poke or something to just kind of keep him. Make sure you're using it as a defensive. This is it has a bit of a longer cooldown, 8 seconds at max rank, so you really want to be using that. My cat is going crazy. Yeah, so just make sure to use it at the most ideal moment. I think this is sometimes what separates the better Lissandra players from just the average Lissandra players is their use of their Aftershock and kind of how they're weaving in autos and everything. So that will wrap up this tip for Lissandra. And again, if you guys have any questions for me about this stuff, I always try to be as interactive as possible. So comment down below if you have any questions. Alright, and let's jump into tip number 4. Now, this is going to be rather important with especially newer Lissandra players, is when to use your ult. If you did not know that you could use an ult on an enemy or you could use a ult on yourself. And it's just 2 different ways to play out the team fights. In general, if you're looking for picks, if it's a small skirmish, it's better to put the ult on an enemy to make it a 2v1 situation where you're still able to do damage. If you're looking to engage a 5v5 team fight, it is usually better to E in and ult yourself, but however these can change. A couple things that might change it around is if you're just snowballing and destroying people, there's no need to use this R as a defensive. You can use it as an offensive and keep throwing out damage. But if it's even or if you're behind, it is usually better to look at the ult as a defensive tool when you are jumping in with your EQ and W and everything else. So always be looking to assess the game, look at their carries, who is the strongest carry, what is their damage threshold with the certain items they have, and that is going to help you decide whether you should be ulting yourself or ulting the enemy. But if you don't remember anything from this tip, and just remember one thing, is just when you're in skirmishes, ult an enemy. When you're not in skirmishes, you usually want to ult yourself. There's a bunch of different things that can change that, but just for new players that really just want to play it out in an easy way. Obviously, if you're low health and people are jumping on you, you want to ult yourself even in a small skirmish. But there's just like a bunch of small caveats I could give with this. It's just been accrued with the knowledge of playing a bunch of Lissandra. So just I heavily encourage you to play as much Lissandra as you can. She's extremely meta right now, and just get good, get get used to understanding when you should be ulting and yourself and when you should be ulting an enemy. Try it in both different situations and see how it affects your play style. That's gonna wrap up this tip. Let me know. I'm sure there's gonna be a couple of people that are gonna have some stuff on the ultimate, so let me know in the comments down below. Alright, and jumping into the final tip. This is just going to be a little bit about the champion Lissandra. Now, she is not a control mage. She's not a super long range that can just kill you from a screen away like Lux if she lands her root. She is a pick champion, and ways that we emphasize pick champions, at least on this channel, and I think that is really important, is vision denial. In low elo, if you're from bronze to gold, if you set up these traps, it is almost always going to work. How we do that is either by placing a control ward or by doing an oracle lens sweep on the bush and then waiting for enemies to pass by. Some ways to artificially encourage people to pass by a bush that you have warded would be, say you're in the mid lane and you're faking a roam up top. You just, here, I'll just do the whole movement for you. You just kind of go like this. You're like, oh, I'm ganking top lane. You better follow or else your top laner is going to bitch at you. And then you just sit in this bush right here. Obviously, you want to know that you can win the 1v1. What we're going to do, someone's messaging me. You want to sit in here and you want to wait for them to come. Say they are coming right here, and then you do the Q, E, W, R. There's a couple different combos you can do, but to maximize damage, you usually want to throw out everything. And there is a little bit of a split second where you don't really have to automatically ult right when you see them and they get in range, because there is going to be a little bit of delay on them reacting to you when you are out of vision. So usually you can get off maybe a Q auto R and then the E. There's a bunch of different ways to play the combo, but the most important part of this tip is vision denial. With your insane amount of CC, you're able to get a lot of picks, so make sure that you are buying control wards and sweepers, and knowing your own power level is going to be important for these traps as well. Just due to the fact that it is going to be a 1v1 situation, just know that you're going to want to be able to win the 1v1. Generally, Lissandra is pretty decent in the 1v1, so you do not have too much to worry about. Also, I'm going to throw in a couple small tips here. With Lissandra, you're able to kill these scuttles so quickly with your CC from your W, so just make sure to look and either help out or grab the scuttler if your jungler is not around and there's a chance that the enemy jungler might take it. So that's going to wrap up my tips for Lissandra. Again, I'd love to hear your guys' tips for Lissandra in the comments down below. It's kind of it's happening in some of my older videos now, and I'm like, God damn it, that guy's awesome. He wrote like a page and a half about Veigar on one of my most recent videos. So that was really cool, where he was talking about different tips that he found. So please, I encourage you to put some tips down below. If you enjoyed the content, please remember to like and subscribe. I'm also gonna put a Discord link maybe in the comments, maybe pin a comment with it or something, and if you can join the Discord, I kind of send out when I'm streaming, I send out when my new videos come out, and when we're looking for more for the 5v5 custom. So that will wrap it up. If you guys really want to help me out, I'm trying to get to that 4K mark where I'm going to do a special series where we are going to be doing Yasuo Iron to Platinum. Share my channel with a friend. That would mean so much to me. I'm just trying to build a community of people that are looking to get better at League of Legends and kind of duo together and find groups and play some customs together and have a good old time while trying to climb and improve at the game. So yeah, that will do it. You guys take it easy.